Wow, what an incredible week traveling through Parashat Yitro together with everybody. I want to thank you so much for joining, and a big yasher koyach to all of you for your amazing dedication to the mitzvah of Shnayim Mikra. And of course, a tremendous yasher koyach to my good friend Rabbi Elad Danino and to his Eishes Chayil for all that you do to allow us to have this amazing chizuk and this dedication towards the mitzvah of Shnayim Mikra. You know, at the beginning of this week's Parsha, we see how Yisro left his high position in Midyan to travel out to the Midbar to go join Klal Yisrael. And the Medrash tells us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself testified about Yisro, that he was L'Shem Shemayim, that he's coming to connect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You know, Moshe Rabbeinu, Aaron, Nadav, and Avihu, and all of Klal Yisrael went out and gave him this amazing greeting. And we know that he was so inspired. Yisro took the message and he gave it back to his people back in Midyan to teach people about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Such an amazing transformation. What is it that caused this? Well, if we look at the beginning of the Parsha, the first words tells us Vayishma Yisro, and Yisro heard. And Rashi tells us, what is it that he heard? He heard about the miracles of Kriyas Yamsuf, and he heard about the war with Amalek. And because he heard about these things, that's what inspired him tremendously. And Rav Chatzkel Levenstein points out something amazing. This amazing transformation that Yisro had, where did it all come from? It came from the fact that Yisro heard something. It came from the fact that Yisro had his ears open and he listened to what was going on. And he took in that message that he heard. He allowed himself to get inspired, and in turn that propelled him to tremendous levels, which caused him to go out to the desert, caused him to end up wanting to be makar of so many other people. Why? All because he heard something. And Rav Chatzkel says this is an amazing lesson for all of us. You know, we go throughout our lives and we hear things all the time. We hear inspirational messages every single day. We hear shiurim. We see things. We experience Hashem's kindness. We may experience a hashgacha prata story that happens to us. We see and we hear things all the time. The question is, are we willing to allow ourselves to really hear and to really get inspired from that which we hear and that which we see? We have to take a lesson from Yisro, who allowed himself to listen, who allowed himself to take in the message and to really get inspired. And when we hear something inspiring, when we hear a shir, and when we hear something inspiring, we need to stop, we need to take that message in and allow ourselves to really change and to really grow as a result of what we hear. You know, there's an amazing story about Rav Chatzkel Levenstein himself, who said this beautiful Dvar Torah. He stepped into a cab in Eretz Yisrael, and the cab driver told him, he said, you know, I want to tell you a story, Rabbi, about how my friend became religious. You see, the two of us, we were in the army together. After we finished our service, some friends of ours, we went out on a camping trip. Well, in the middle of the night, my friend, he woke up screaming. And all of us woke up and we were so scared. What's he screaming about? We look and we see that he has this boa constrictor wrapped around his neck. And it was getting tighter and tighter, and we were afraid that he was going to lose his life. And even though we weren't religious, one of my friends, he said to him, he said, you should cry out, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Well, he said those words. And immediately after he said the word Echad, the snake slithered away. A miracle. And as a result of that, my friend started to study. He started to learn Torah, and he ended up becoming religious, and he's keeping the Torah today. And Rav Chatzkel said, it's such a beautiful story, but I'm just curious, what about you? Why didn't you change like that? And the driver said, no, Rabbi, you must have misunderstood. The story didn't happen to me. The story happened to my friend. And Rav Chatzkel, when he would relay over the story, he would say, oy, what a mistake. You know, a person can see something so amazing right in front of them, but not necessarily take in the message and make it real. When we see things, when we hear things, we have to stop. We have to make it real. We have to really allow ourselves to get inspired. The next shir that you go to, the next Dvar Torah that you hear, let's allow ourselves to let that message seep in and to grow through that message to truly propel ourselves to incredible levels. I want to wish everybody a beautiful Shabbos.